Aquino Tank Weekend is one of Canada's largest and most exciting military history events. It is held every year at the Canadian Tank Museum, also known as the Ontario Regiment RCAC Museum in Oshawa, Ontario. The event attracts thousands of visitors from across Canada and around the world who come to see historic military vehicles, watch live battle reenactments, and learn about Canada's military history. The event takes place at the Canadian Tank Museum, located at 1000 Stevenson Road North, Oshawa, Ontario, beside the Oshawa Executive Airport. The museum is home to one of the largest collections of operational military vehicles in North America.
Stand by, firing in 10 seconds. Alrighty.
That's called a recoilless rifle.
During Aquino Tank Weekend, many of these vehicles are taken out of the museum and demonstrated in action, giving visitors a chance to see, hear, and even feel the power of real tanks and armored vehicles. The weekend includes live military vehicle demonstrations, historical battle reenactments, military displays, educational exhibits, food vendors, and family-friendly activities. Visitors can also meet veterans, members of the Canadian Armed Forces, military historians, and volunteers who help preserve Canada's military heritage. Tank and vehicle rides allow visitors to experience what it feels like to travel inside historic military vehicles. Trained drivers safely operate these restored vehicles while passengers ride along a designated course. The activity gives visitors a better understanding of the size, power, and rough conditions experienced by soldiers during military operations. For many guests, this is one of the most memorable parts of the weekend. The weekend is held to honor the courage and sacrifice of these soldiers, while educating the public about Canada's military history and the importance of remembering those who serve. Aquino Tank Weekend, exhibition of military vehicles. It is an educational event that brings history to life through realistic demonstrations and interactive displays. Families, students, and history enthusiasts have the opportunity to learn about military technology, historical events, and the role of the Canadian Armed Forces in protecting peace and freedom.
Well, we weren't at the start
The event also helps preserve historic vehicles by raising awareness and support for the museum's restoration and conservation work.
Welcome to our World War II field station.
Like between 1930 and 1932.
Working condition?
Oh yeah, I'm shooting film on it right now.
You just took a picture, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah. So this camera here uses a 4x5 sheet film. So this is covered by a dark slide right here, but this film holder would take 6 sheets of film, and it just kind of cycles them through when I actuate it.
Okay.
So this camera here has a focal plane shutter, so you can kind of see. We got different curtain apertures. So that one's 1.5 inches. Then we got 3/4, and 3/8, and 1/8. So when you release this scans across the film and exposes it.
Oh,
So if you look at this chart right here, you got your 4 curtain apertures, and you have 6 different tension numbers on the take-up spool for the shutter curtain. And by selecting a value that corresponds to like either of those, you can get a shutter speed out of the center. So you get everywhere from 1/1000th of a second down to 1/10th of a second. So it's pretty easy.
Our Lady Elizabeth.
Usually someone is holding it and it's these really big slow chops like this. But that is not the case with this weapon. Historically they would have weighed about 4 to 12 pounds. Mine in particular is filled against spears. They could fight in a narrow alley or big open spaces. This is a great weapon for area of denial. Pretty much trying to clear a big space and keep people away. I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration right now for escorting. We have our young Sir William over here, and I'm going to have to keep him safe from some brigands who are going to try to attack us. Can you still hear me? Alright. So what's going to happen? We're going to start over here. William is going to be holding on to the back of my shirt somewhere. Looks like this, yeah. And what he's going to do, he's not going to push or pull or anything like that. He's just going to follow along. And what I have to do is I'm going to be swinging my sword. I have to be careful when I'm swinging that I'm not swinging back too far, so I actually hurt the person that I'm trying to protect. So I'd be a pretty bad bodyguard if I did so. Alright, so. Thank you.
The Battle Royale, tank battle is one of the most exciting events at Aquino Tank Weekend, held at the Ontario Regiment RCAC Museum in Oshawa, Ontario. This live demonstration showcases historic tanks and military vehicles in a simulated battlefield.
Canadian Tank Museum, home to the largest collection of operational historical military vehicles in North America. History lives here. Before we begin the show, please listen carefully to the following important safety briefing. Our demonstrations include moving vehicles and battle reenactments. These can be extremely loud. We recommend hearing protection, especially for children.
Okay, everyone. My name is Jeff Darrington. I'm just doing a health check on everyone. How's everybody doing? All right. Make sure you check on your neighbor. Make sure everybody's doing all right. Hopefully everybody's getting lots of water. We've had quite the change in the weather. We had a little bit cooler breeze coming through here for a bit of relief, but it appears like we're going to have a little more heat to deal with. So please be very careful. If you're not feeling well, we do have medical attention on here if you need help.
And it's sort of the Aquino Cup. It's a best 2 out of 3. Now, last Friday, we had the Leopard defeating the M60. So I'm sure the M60 crew has spent the evening contemplating their fate and how they were approaching the battle space. They're definitely going to be hungry for a win. 2 massive main battle tanks. And in the Steel Aces arena, you will decide who wins Battle Royale. I'll explain that once we have a good look at both contenders. The first built Chrysler M60A3, weighing in at 50 tons. The M60 was built by the Americans to take a lot of hits. Look at the incredibly thick armor on this 50-ton main battle tank. This huge glacius plate here, most hits from another main battle tank that would hit that front plate would probably not penetrate or would not be a tank knockout. Its firepower is a 105 millimeter main weapon. It's a NATO standard, both from the Cold War to today. Remains in NATO arsenals around the world and even in frontline service. The Leopard is about 40 tons, about 10 tons less of weight than the M60. Now, the Germans, their concept in developing the Leopard 1 main battle tank was to sacrifice some of that protection for speed and maneuverability. So you'll find that the Leopard tank will be much faster than its opponent, the M60. However, it's also supporting a 105 millimeter main weapon. So their firepower is the same. So you have the big American slugger with the heavy armor. Who was on target? Who was tracking well? And who was using the defensive features of the tank arena to defend the weaker parts of their tank? Leopard crew, are you ready? M60 crew, are you ready? Here we go in the Canadian Tank Museum Steel Aces Tank Arena, Round 2, Aquino 2025 Battle Royale. Tankers, take your firing positions. M60 definitely is not a slow vehicle. M60 did a great job getting behind target. Not a shot yet. M60 starts charging up the field. The M60 crew knows the Leopard has a speed advantage. M60 trying to track the target, but no, too late. main battle tank cannot get its gun over the rear deck. There's no depression. Again, the M60 doing a great job of tracking the enemy. Leopard now turning to get the M60 on target. Both tanks facing off. Great shot right on the side armor there of the M60 by the Leopard. Returning fire. So we have one really M60's now charging Leopard. M60 knows that it has to get some distance in this tank arena so that that fast Leopard doesn't get behind. The Leopard may have an opportunity here to get a shot right in the engine deck of that M60. Another hit right in the engine deck of the M60 by the Leopard tank. Leopard tank still tracking that M60. Now it's just moving to target. Notice how the M60 pivoted its hull with its frontal armor towards the enemy. Nice shot. Pivoting again to move, that's the tell. Leopard just calmly sitting there on the back of the hill. Tracking the target. There's a shot on the move. Third hit on the M60. Leopard trying to shoot on the move. M60 now on the target. The speed of that Leopard 1. Already on a firing position. Nope. Not taking the firing position. Actually charging the M60. Getting in close range. Too late, the M60 was able to turn its hull around. Leopard crew using the rear feature for a little bit of hull cover. Both tanks broadside to each other. Returning fire quickly. Great shot by the M60 right on the turret of that Leopard. Returning fire. Will the Leopard stand its ground, or is it time to run? Again, see how the M60 trying to bring their gun over the rear deck. Could not get the Leopard on target. Leopard pivoting its frontal armor towards the enemy. Great shot. Oh, great shot by the M60. Again, on the turret. Slowly tracking the target. Great opportunity here for the M60 to get that softer side armor on the Leopard. Can they get a shot from... No, looks like the Leopard is leaving the firing position. M60 probably losing an opportunity to track that Leopard. A Leopard also trying to fire over the rear deck. Again, he cannot get the pressure down on that gun to hit the M60. Both in a fairly protected position. One shot by the M60. Leopard again. Not firing. Let's bring them out front. Anchor. Okay. Commander, feeling confident? No, not so sure. He's cheating. He's just going for applause. Who believes it's the Leopard crew that won Battle Royale? I'm gonna have to take the hearing protection off because this is actually really close. Okay, finally, one more time. Who believes you're really gonna give it for your favorite crew? Who believes the M60 crew won Battle Royale? Leopard crew. This is gonna make Sunday so important because I actually think it was a draw. Yeah? So M60, all right, you have one loss down. Leo, you have one win on Friday, a draw today. Okay, so it's still on for the Cup of Aquino Tank Weekend tomorrow here in the Canadian Tank Arena. Let's hear it for both crews and their amazing skills in these main battle tanks.
Veterans of the Gulf War. The Veterans of the Gulf War presentation at Aquino Tank Weekend is a special event that recognizes and honors the Canadian men and women who served during the 1990-1991 Gulf War. This conflict began when Iraq invaded Kuwait, leading to an international military response to restore Kuwait's independence. Canada contributed naval, air, and medical forces as part of the multinational coalition. During this event, Gulf War veterans share their personal experiences, challenges, and memories of serving in the conflict. Visitors have the opportunity to hear firsthand accounts of military operations, daily life during deployment, and the sacrifices made by service members. These stories help people better understand the realities of modern warfare and the commitment required to serve in the armed forces. The presentation also highlights Canada's role in international peace and security. Veterans answer questions from the audience, display photographs or memorabilia, and explain how teamwork, discipline, and training help them complete their missions successfully. More importantly, the event serves as a reminder to appreciate the courage and dedication of those who have served their country. By meeting Gulf War veterans and listening to their experiences, visitors gain a deeper respect for Canadian military personnel and the importance of remembering their service. This presentation is both educational and inspiring, making it an important part of Aquino Tank Weekend.
Here, and this is representing the forces of the United States in 1990 and 1991 when they were deployed to the Gulf. Now, the first vehicle is, as ubiquitous as a Jeep. I'm sure you all know what it is. It's the Humvee. So Humvees, they came out in 1980 and they were produced for over a decade in the United States, and they still remain in service both with the United States and with allied nations of the U.S. all over the world. He's having a jam. There you go, a lot of kick for this tiny little vehicle. The next vehicle, again, is the M113 Armored Personnel Carrier. Yes, sir? Now, by 1990, 1991, in U.S. service, the M60 was really near end of life. It had already been replaced by the M1 Abrams main battle tank. The M60 was still a training tank and a second-line tank, but the United States Marine Corps was still deploying with M60 tanks and with M551 Sheridan. Sheridan out in the front parking lot we can have a look at. So I'm not going to go much over this because you learned all about it in Battle Royale, but it will also be represented. All right, let's hear for the dish cut crew. You're going to hear a lot of that. So the Iraqi forces had T-54s, T-55s of the 21st century even to today. So now I'm going to invite back Museum President Alan Duffy.
All right, let's see this one. Give it a shot. That was 1850. Okay, this on the front, this is Kyle, one of our volunteers helping us out. This is Robin Craig. Can you fire that? Let's see how she weapon. Right, that's it. Because you want to get in and out fast, and T is for track. Now these all have the same engine, these three. They have a Jaguar engine, a J60 engine in it, a petrol engine. And they are aluminum magnesium alloy, so they're fairly light. They're not a full, they're like a mini tank. And the main weapon, the master weapon, they all have the same thing. It's a 76 millimeter. It's not a huge, powerful thing, but it's about the same diameter as a Sherman tank of World War II, the higher ones. Now, let's hear how this sounds. Now, this is Hollywood. This is oxygen propane. So, not you guys, but I want the front only, because I don't want you to give him a haircut. Let's have a test fire here. You can imagine Reggie's original kit here. And my God, I'm looking at you guys. Remind me to strike one of the Georges so I don't get confused again. This is done up exactly. We have the guys sign the side. They've signed their original. So they come back here. Can you imagine being in a vehicle that many years ago? 35 years ago. You were a youth, you were there. You touched your 3-2. This is a striker. Again, it's a CVR. Brad was not on this, but he was in the same troop. 3-2. The gunner, put your hand up, Paul. Paul's the gunner. He's the original gunner, was on this. This is his first visit to Canada, first visit to Aquino, first of many, I hope. But we have all kinds of pictures of these guys.
So the vehicles are getting into place. Max FX is just bombing up the field, just making sure everything's turned on. Now what you're going to see, and I think you've kind of gathered this, that we actually, these are 1-to-1 scale radio controlled tanks, right? No, not really. They're real tanks, but we actually have a communication system from the Mars and by the United Kingdom. They had treaties and financial interests with Kuwait that went way back to the 19th century. But, you know, Saddam Hussein had that are deep in the desert. And the desert isn't all sand, for those of you that may have visited different deserts. This is on the edge of the delta. And beyond the delta, it is just a sandy desert wasteland. And as Al was talking about, the GPS, or Global Positioning Satellite System, that at that time was a military secret used by the Western forces. So these are low caliber forces, and they are just out in the desert. They do not expect to see any British or American forces coming from the direction of the sandy desert. They are relaxed, again, conscripts, but what they do not know is the American forces and British forces are racing towards the delta in a flanking movement controlled by GPS. And that's where our story begins today. Out of the impassable desert comes the pointy end of Operation Granby, the British forces, their light reconnaissance. Just entering into the, again, Iraqi forces, no idea to suspect that there would be any Western forces in this part of the desert. So the light recce there, they've actually spotted that T-54 tank, obviously very dangerous to an unarmored vehicle. The second vehicle in that recce squadron, the Ferret, it takes an overwatch position. It's just got the report from the Land Rover of the Iraqi dug-in position up ahead. You can see the Iraqis still don't see the British wreck, but now they're spotted. Land Rover going around, racing around the flank of the position. Iraqi forces concentrating on the Ferret Fight Army on the hill. Even the machine gun team cannot see the Land Rover coming close to their position. He's completely caught off by guard. British light recce are going to make a hasty retreat. So those Iraqi infantry and those crews are definitely awake now. You heard the dishka go off. Those light T-54 fighting back, being swarmed by recce vehicles with 75mm cannons just bouncing off of the T-54, but definitely scaring the crew inside. Lots of confusion. How are they going to deal with that T-54? Well, here comes their third line. They brought in their strikers. Strikers just firing those rockets at the T-54 to take out the tank. T-54 is disabled, but still in a nasty defensive position. CBRTs cannot really move up and risk being blown apart by that Soviet-era tank. Rockets raining down on the position and on the T-54. Well, what's this coming from the opposite flank? It's the American forces coordinating with their British allies. They've got the report from the British rescue of the Iraqi position. And they've done an end run around the Iraqi position. There you can see the M60 main battle tank raining down fire, taking out the T-54. The American reconnaissance element is now on the flank. The Iraqis in their position, arm, pin. British forces on one side, the Americans on the flank and sweeping around the rear. Their main battle tank taken out, but still CBRTs need to be cautious of that BMP. M60's just up there on the overwatch position, pinning down all the Iraqi armor, while the British forces wait for their allies on the flank to close in, close the gap. And here come the Americans, right in the rear of the position with the M113. You see the TC tank commander, crew commander, is giving suppression fire with that 50 machine gun. Infantry deployed from the armored personnel carrier. The Iraqis are now pitched from both sides. There's nowhere to run for those Iraqi forces. Now the remaining Iraqi infantry is pinned down by the British and American infantry and reconnaissance forces from the opposite flank. British forces are going to take this opportunity to get in close, knowing that the Soviet armor is now taken out. And pinched on both ends how quickly these conscript soldiers of Saddam Hussein throw down their weapons and put up their hands. And that's why this war lasted less than 100 days. Let's hear it for our crews, the veterans, and the reenactors. This war was quick. The Iraqi forces were definitely outgunned, outmaneuvered, and but of course Saddam Hussein would still remain in Iraq, and that would lead later on to the Second Gulf War. So again, my name's Jeremy Blowers. I'm the Executive Director of the Canadian Tank Museum. How was June month? Apparently there's still some ammo on the field. So, again, they have surrendered, right? All right, just making sure.
No, it's take no prisoner policy.